All right, episode 34 of 84 Feet with Cady and Cap, now in session. As Cap said right before we started recording, he's calling this the Hakeem the Dream episode, Hakeem Olajuwon. If you don't know the reference, then shame on you for not knowing 1990s NBA. I'm Brian Cady. That's Brian Capitula, Albany Academy. Girls basketball head coach. Cap, what's the haps?
It was a great weekend in sports for me overall, so I'm ready to move on to the week. I won't be watching anything sports related for about 3 days until that cycle ends from what happened over the weekend. So besides that, everything's great. It's just 59 degrees out today too. So
I have to ask you a question that I've been refraining from asking you over the weekend because I just wanted your genuine thoughts on this. As we're recording this, by the way, on Veterans Day, Monday, November 11th. So happy Veterans Day, obviously, to all the vets out there. But that's not what I'm piecing into the question with. So how would you feel about Juan Soto being in Queens instead of the Bronx?
Listen, Soto's gonna. I'll wherever you can get the money, I'll go for it. I would do the same thing. Get $600 million. I guess they're 13 years, $750 million is what the number is.
Yes, Scott Boras is wild. You don't want to see me speak about Scott Boras on this. Plus, it's baseball, not basketball, so I'll just
wild stuff.
Get the hell out of that. Anyways, pair of guests coming on the show today that things have been a little crazy between fall sports because the coach we have coming on also coaches football, and the player we have coming on also plays a fall sport. So a lot of juggling in schedules. We're able to get this done before, at least as we're recording this, before hoop season officially gets underway. Heading on out to Maple Hill, Class C, a program that's definitely on the rise within Class C. And joining us now is the head coach, Michael Oliver, and his player, so don't quote me, sophomore, junior. I'm sure I'm getting this wrong.
She's a junior.
Junior, sorry. Oh, that's right. She plays on Elevate, so you would know this. Addison Loszynski. Coach, Addie, what's going on? How you doing?
Good.
Very good. Happy to be here.
First things first, I mentioned fall was a little bit crazy. So, Coach, let me start with you because something that not many in the basketball community might know about you is that you also coach football out at Waterville Elite. So, all in all, how do you feel the season went, and what are you thinking about the boys out there, the Cannoneers? How are they looking right now?
Yeah, we just wrapped up our first season there. We made the playoffs this year. Lost the tough one in the playoffs to Fonda, but overall it was a great experience. This was really our first step into, a bigger high school football job and close to home. I had a great staff with me, great players. So it was an amazing year. And then obviously, as football winds down, you get that itch that basketball season is coming up. And so we're hard at work right now and preparing to get ready for the basketball season.
Go Cannoneers. I graduated in 2000 from Waterville Elite, so
awesome.
So the tradition and like history stuff, and then went back and coached there afterwards too. So
yeah,
it's a community that I think it's definitely a little bit different community. The families from the communities have all graduated, but I think it's coming back around now, like where like the school pride's coming back a little bit. I think that might have been lost a little bit. So I'm happy that you have the job there and obviously doing a great job. So
thank you.
Now, just in general, with coaching like two sports for you, what is the balance like? Not only like off the kind of on the field, but off the field too. Is it something like I don't know? I would be able to do it, but like balancing act and trying to figure that out and actually working your normal job that actually pays the bills, which people maybe don't understand that the coaching is something that's extra. But how is the balance of that going?
I think it starts number one with surrounding yourself around great coaches. I have great football coaches who I can kind of trust to just kind of lead in certain moments. And then, basketball too. I have a guy with me, his name's Coach Cooley, he's been with me every stop that I've went. And he's like just that assistant that like he does everything with me. He's with me at Waterville. He's with me at Maple Hill. We brought him back this year. And, when you bring guys like him on who can kind of help balance things, it definitely makes it easier because, as you mentioned, it is tough. I work in education. I work for a charter school, and we're in the building at 7. We're not out until 4. And so right after school, we're rushing out of the building, and we're trying to get things going. And so just surrounding yourself around good people. And then, just on the outside life, my family is so important to me. My mom is my biggest advocate. And just, her just kind of letting me know, listen, don't do too much. But she's at every game. She's at every football game, every basketball game. So just my family's a huge support. And, I'm really grateful to my family and guys like Coach Cooley who kind of keep me on a level head.
That's awesome.
So I want to get Addie in here on this one. Mentioned how you were busy yourself also in the fall. You were competing with the Wildcats volleyball team through the fall. How did you manage to, had you been playing basketball and volleyball the entire time since you were younger, or did you pick up one sport after the other?
So I started basketball when I was in first grade with the CYO program through Maple Hill. And then I started volleyball in 7th grade actually. And I kind of just loved it. So I've been doing it ever since, and I've just been balancing the two. They're at different times of the year, so that helps a lot. But with club volleyball, it's at the same time as AAU basketball, so that's I need to juggle the two, but it works out well.
Now, with you competing and everything, Addie, having obviously playing more than one sport, and I know that you took on softball this past year. You decided to figure out, all right, can I hit a ball? Because I haven't tried that in a while. But what is it about I guess being at Maple Hill that makes you want to do things like that? Go out and try to be a 3-sport athlete for the school? Is it just something that you're just I just feel like doing something, or is there a school pride in Maple Hill? I want to go out and kind of support my school by doing multiple sports?
Yeah, it's a lot of both, honestly. I kind of just wanted to do something during the spring, so that's why I picked up softball. But it's also I want to help my team and my school any ways that I can. And I have a lot of friends on my softball team that play other sports with me. So just trying to help them too.
Now, Coach, Cap just mentioned the playing multiple sports for a school, and that's something that, smaller schools tend to deal with a little bit more in the Class B, C, D levels than say AAA or AA or even Class A, really. I know that's something that, just as an example, the hoops team last year only had I think it was 7 players when you guys got the sectionals last year. How do you manage to juggle the intricacies of the fact that you might not have as deep of a pool of players to tap into, whether it be in basketball at Class C or even football on a Class B or Class C level with Waterville? What are the difficulties that come with that?
Yeah, I think that what happens is we have a lot of athletes who play multiple sports, so it's maybe we can't start open gym as early as some programs can. But we have some hardworking athletes at both schools, Maple Hill and Waterville, and we have athletes who are willing to put in the work. And I've been very fortunate here at Maple Hill going into year 4 where no matter if they're playing multiple sports, they're ready for open gym when we get ready. And then I've also been lucky with having people who have been returning. I've had Addie since she was in 8th grade. And she's just worked harder and harder and harder. And not just Addie, we had Sydney Rogers, who's been with me since I've been here. Last year, we graduated Emily Coffey, who has been with me for 3+ years. So, yes, it is tougher. Sometimes when you're looking at those bigger programs and they're 8, 9, 10, 12 on a basketball team. But you know what? I'll take my 7, my 8, my 9, and we'll go out and we're going to grind. And that's kind of where I'm at, yes, I think, having those numbers are great so you can scrimmage and stuff like that. But you know what? I'll take 9 girls who will grind all day long. And last year, although it was the smallest numbers we ever had, I think it was our best year. Our chemistry was amazing. And I really got to know the girls, and the girls really challenged me to express a side of me that I haven't really expressed before. So, it is tough, but I love the challenge each and every year.
And the funny part about Maple Hill too, Brian, which I don't know if the talent, something's in the water out there, because the talent that would be at that school right now, if not for private schools or prep schools of being their basketball, like there's legitimately like 4 other basketball athletes, at least 3 other basketball athletes that would be in the Maple Hill district that aren't there. So something's in the water. It moved on to just soccer. Used to be just soccer, and then it kind of has been to all the sports now. But this could be a question for both of you guys. But is there anything? Maybe you don't get them, but I always get them no matter when we play. But is there anything that you guys do, whether it's music or anything like that, that kind of calms your nerves or like butterflies before you compete?
You want to go?
Honestly, just like being with my teammates helps a lot. Like I have a really good bond with a lot of my teammates, and just like being with them helps calm my nerves. And it's like they rely on me, I rely on them. Like, let's just do this for each other. Same thing with Coach O. Like we rely on each other, so I do it for my teammates.
Yeah, and that's kind of my answer too. It's like, Coach, I know you probably attest to this. Like when you have built the bond with your team, and like for me, like I said, I get out at 4, and I'm getting to the game. When you get there and you see your group there, like I'm instantly ready to go. And sometimes I'm sitting there waiting for that JV game to get over, and we head into pregame, and it's like all of a sudden I'm just locked in. When you build that bond with your team, it's a special feeling. It really is. And as you get deeper and deeper in the year, and then they start trusting you and you start trusting them, that pregame thing for me is like, hey, I'm kind of just ready to go. For 4 years we've had the same pregame routine. They go get dressed, I give them the paper, the game sheet, and they won't admit it, but I give them a joke of the day, of the night, and it's always funny. Whether they like it or not, it's funny. And after that, we're ready to go rock and roll. So the girls seeing the girls, and when it's time to go play, that's kind of my motivation.
I was gonna follow up on if those jokes are actually funny, but Addie's face said everything I needed to say. So, I'll leave that one alone. But Coach, I actually have a question about your background a little bit, because you're a local guy. You graduated from Columbia in 2012, but where you went to college is what jumped out at me.
Yeah.
Went to LSU. Like a little different down there than, say, I don't know, Albany or Siena. A little bigger. They take certain college sports a little more seriously, even if they lose to Alabama by 3 touchdowns or whatever it was this past weekend. But I mean, how dramatic is the difference between being down there, even just athletics wise? Like it just has to be like, obviously every school takes their own athletics seriously, but there's levels to it. Yeah. So it's got to be a whole different animal being down there and experiencing that for yourself.
Yeah, honestly, that was always the plan, to really be down there. And that's kind of where I was originally going to go. And so when I put it out there, that's where I was headed. But I actually never really even made it down there. I did my first 2 years at Onondaga. And then ever since then, I kind of just fell in love with the school. So I actually never made it out there.
Okay.
But I'm sure the atmosphere is great. I've been an LSU fan for I don't know how long. And Saturday was a tough night. It was a tough night for us. For someone who studies and watches as much LSU as I do. I'm hoping Brian Kelly can. I'm hoping his words can match his actions, and we can get ourselves back in the right direction after 2 tough losses.
Cap, do you want to add on to the pain at all? Because I know you had certain feelings about it over the weekend. So,
I hate Brian Kelly. Number one, I'm not a fan of him. He's and number 2, we talk about social media all the time, and I'm obviously a Monday morning quarterback, but like Carson Beck, man, if they started playing Dancing Queen at one point because he makes TikToks with the Cavender.
Hey, easy.
So
You could say the same thing about Jake Ferguson from the Cowboys, all right?
well, so Old Miss started playing Dancing Queen as he threw an interception. That was pretty hilarious to troll him a little bit. But I don't know. That's too many interceptions, but that's college football. Maddie doesn't care about that. Addie, in terms of like when you were a young athlete, anyone that inspired you to become like an athlete, whether it be like an aunt, a relative, your father, your mother, anybody else, or just like someone that you may have watched that was a Maple Hill kid or around that area when you were young?
My brother is like probably my biggest inspiration. Like he's at Eastern Connecticut right now playing baseball, and that was like his dream, and he's always followed his dreams. So that's like, he's a really big inspiration to me. And like my dad has always pushed me to be the best that I could possibly be, and even since I was young. And then my mom has just always been there for me, supporting me. Like my family is honestly my biggest support system. Just like Oliver said, like always have been my biggest advocates. Like they've been there with me for my worst games, my best games. And that's just really important to me. And they mean a lot to me.
So I have to ask a little bit of an elephant in the room kind of question here, because Addie, you played for Elevate for AAU. How do you talk? I don't know how I do it because I have a podcast with him. How do you tolerate a guy like Brian Capitula for 4 months out of your year?
I wasn't around that much.
Yeah, well, he wasn't really my coach, but it was just, he's funny. He adds in jokes at practices. Like when we would scrimmage them, he would always be joking around, which I appreciate. Like I like when coaches have like a sense of humor to them, and like we have the same kind of humor. So I liked it.
All right, who has the better jokes, him or Coach O?
Oh,
I'm gonna have to say him.
Wow.
It's like a quick witty humor. His is kind of like dad jokes, if you will.
Coach,
So,
hey, Coach, sounds like you gotta step up your game a little
Listen,
bit here.
she'll be with Coach, but she'll be with Coach for 4 months, and then that'll end, and then she'll be with me for 4 months this spring and summer. So she's got to. I don't know about your choice. I would have chose Coach first. I would have just said him, and then you could tell me later that you really meant me.
I agree.
But and Coach, this is a question for you. Do you think attitude and you coaching now, like having boys in football and having girls in basketball, how important do you think attitude is a factor in winning?
You know, we just talked about that today in our workout. Like, you know, like attitude and preparation, like to me, like, and also accountability. Like those are all things that like I pride myself on. Like, what are we doing now to prepare ourselves to get where we want to get to? You know, I constantly talk to the group of girls that I have now. Like we have small goals that we want to achieve. Like, you know, we got to a spot last year that we hadn't been to before, you know, but we're still looking at small things. We still want to win a platoon conference championship. We still want to get past the hurdle of, you know, getting to a sectional final. And so when it comes to attitude and preparation and all that stuff, like to me, it's kind of the backbone of how you're working and building your program. You know, are you coming into the gym every day and you want to get better, or are you coming into the gym and you kind of just are complacent? You know, and so I challenge my girls today, you know, at workouts. How are we thinking about how are we preparing and thinking about next steps? You know, when we do every rep, are we preparing like we just want to be out here for fun, or are we preparing like we want to make a push for whatever this season has in store? So, you know, to me, attitude is huge. And over, you know, what really it had to be, you know, because, you know, we kind of ran into a situation where, you know, players thought that things were just going to be handed to them. And for me, you know, I'm big on, you know, accountability and doing your job. And I've been like that since I've gotten here. And I don't think that's going to change for me anytime soon.
Yeah, I gotta say, Addie, you've had a pretty crazy last 12 months because you were first team all conference in volleyball and hoops. You're a sexual all-star in hoops. I think you were first team gym rat back in the spring for what was it, this 16U, and then you've been going around. I know you were at the EST Fall Showcase not too long ago. How much of a bit of a whirlwind has it been? I mean, obviously, you've been you're always team first from everything you've been talking about so far. But for you personally, what has the last 12 months been as far as your growth as an athlete? And is there like a new level of expectations you're setting yourself now as you go into basketball season?
Yeah, so a big part of it for me is like the mental game of it all, because like it gets hard, like the seasons get stressful, like especially towards the end, and like this volleyball season was really big because we had a very good team. We had a tough loss in sectionals, but I think we're going to be good again next year, so an important year. And then with basketball, like it's my junior year, and like I'm hoping to like hit my 1,000 point this year, so there's like help my team get to like get farther than we ever have before, win the patroons. Like there's a lot that like has to get done this year, and it's definitely a lot of pressure, but I'm also so excited for it.
And if there's still an underrated player somehow that's about to hit 1,000 points, it's Addie. I think playing in the conference that she is in, the patroon, and just how good her team has been and how good she is, like I don't know if anyone knows, like Addie she's like 5'10", 5'11" almost, which you would never think. Like I'm like, oh my God, she is that tall. Like that, I actually had that moment at one point during the summer, like, oh, she's taller than I thought. Which is always, I'm sure Coach loves that. So
Yeah.
and me and Brian. So in terms of the Class C stuff, me and Brian have talked to. At this point, we've talked to basically, really, you guys being the third one, really the third contender. We feel like for that Class C group. And the Class C group, I mean, maybe there's the double A's may match it, or maybe the triple A's on the top couple teams will match it. But the quality that's now the Class C, with Stillwater sliding down in the Class C, and Greenwich being now having a year older and having some new kids join that program. Competitiveness for you guys in your own like section at this point, your own class. Have you prepared your season that way to kind of like maybe branch out and kind of challenge yourself early on for maybe that test later on in the year?
Yeah, I call it the kind of the Dwaynesburg approach. That's kind of how I've categorized it to myself. We got with the Greenwich coach, and we're gonna go to this tournament. And I think it's section 8 or 9, I think. And we're gonna do a 2-day tournament, Saturday and Sunday. Which is good for us because, we need that outside of the section kind of experience, but also outside of the platoon conference. And then, kind of trying to stack our holiday tournament with, 2 teams that we feel like will 3 teams that will give us competition. In the platoon, you have 16 set games. So because of this is the first year that we don't have the platoon tournament, we actually got the addition of 2 non-league games. And so we're very excited about the tournament. I think it's going to challenge our team. And you know what? Depending on how things shake out, I'll take whatever seeding the section will give us, knowing that we've been challenged, and knowing that, hopefully going into sectionals, we're playing our best basketball. But I did know with the team that I had this year, I had to go out and expand kind of who we've been playing as our non-conference games, because we needed to challenge this group to prepare for what we're going to see, and I'm sure a tough sectional run.
That tournament you're talking about the one in January with Peru and Delaware Academy. Is that you're referring to?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just taking a look at the schedule, and specifically the Protrude Conference. I mean, it's a very interesting conference in that you have a very interesting, I guess I could say, borderline mysterious team in Greenville because they just got a new head coach, but they do have a lot of returning young talent. There's Coxsackie Athens, there's Catskills. So within the conference itself, it feels like, it provides just as much interest, honestly, than just Class C. When you look at Class C, obviously a lot of people are talking about Greenwich, but I mean, Burnox Westlaw always puts out a decent squad with Coach Galvin. Dwaynesburg, you just mentioned, they've been in the thick of it the last 3 years. They're rebuilding, but they still have Coach Heron, so you never really know what you're going to get there. Cap mentioned Stillwater, so it seems like the conference, the class, it's all just one mixing pot of just very interesting teams with varieties of talent that could really produce at any point. And really, it all comes down to who's hitting their best stride at that right time in sectionals, I think.
Yeah.
As far as the teammates are concerned, Addie, I know that Rosalie Forrest definitely stood out in my mind when I saw you guys in sectionals last year. All in all, with the returning squad, who do you think are maybe one or two teammates of yours that maybe don't get the same kind of love that you feel like they should get, and maybe provide certain contributions that maybe go a little bit under the radar?
I think definitely Sydney Rogers and Rosalie Forrest. Like, for example, Sid, like, I can always rely on her for the kick out. Like, I've been playing with her since, my 8th grade year, but before in, like, CYO. And I can always just rely on her to hit that shot, which is important because it's like, if I drive, like, it's nice to have her there for the kick. Like, when she was hurt, like, I didn't have that really. And, like, I had my other teammates, but it was like, she's always there when I need to kick it out. And then, like, I feel like she just doesn't get the same, like, I feel like she's almost underappreciated for what she does for our team. And then Rosalie, she kind of came out of nowhere to me. Like, I always, like, knew she was good and I knew she, like, played AAU, but last year she really stepped up, especially when Sid got hurt, being, like, one of our starters. Like, she stepped up and she put up the points that we needed to make up for Sid being out.
This is the less non-serious question about, we've talked about like kind of serious stuff and everything like that, but in terms of practices for you guys, is there anyone in practice that has so much energy and so much kind of craziness that you're like, man, what did you have today at any point? And then the second part of that is, who doesn't get the aux cord in the gym? Who would not be allowed to put their phone on aux?
Well, first off, Rosalie is definitely that player for us who comes in on 1,000 every day. Doesn't matter if we are 4:30 or 6:30. She always comes in on 1,000. We love her. And then as far as the aux cord goes, honestly, I don't know what they listen to nowadays. I mean, like, I would love to sit here and say that they listen to rap and all this stuff, but last week we had open gym and I think it was Pitch Perfect or something. I mean, this group is just unique. Riding the bus with them is always an adventure. I mean, you hear Rihanna, then you hear a slow, sad song, and Taylor Swift. I don't know. To me, none of them could be aux cord, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, at this point, I don't even know. Like, I think I got asked yesterday during an open gym, like, hey, could you play Big X the Plug or something like that? I'm like, where are these names, number one? Like, I don't know. Real Boston Ricky. I'm like, I had to look it up on the thing. I'm like, all right, who are these guys that I like? Can they just be like Dr. Dre or just something simple? They got to be like Little Yachty. Like,
yeah. I mean, just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. But we practice with music. And I'm so accustomed to it now. I just tune it out. And I just let them just go about their day. But yeah, in my opinion, none of them get the aux because it's just it's craziness.
See, it's funny that the conversation delved into Coach trying to turn into Cap's age, even though he's younger than both of us. Not because. As part of the PA stuff that I do, sometimes I also have to provide the pregame music, and I have to rewind myself back 10 years a little bit in my soul to try and make sure I've got. Now I've even gotten to the point where, like, a week before the season, I'll reach out to a couple of players on whatever team I'm doing and be like, hey, give me a little insight on, like, if there's certain artists or songs that maybe I should throw in there. So, like, this year, like, Glorilla was thrown in my face. Metro Boomin, Young boy never broke again. I'm like, what? Like, okay, sure. Lil Mosey. I'm like, sure, okay, whatever. Like,
His name is actually NBA Youngboy, but if you
listen, I'm just going with how it comes up in Spotify, all right? Okay, like,
he knows He knows Bon Jovi. That's his favorite song is "Living on the Prayer." If anyone wanted to know, Brian's favorite song.
I mean, I do love Bon Jovi, but I wouldn't say "Living on the Prayer" is my favorite song of all time. Jeez.
Gets the crowd going. He likes it.
My name isn't Ryan Moses. What are you doing to me? Come on, dude. I mean, that's Ryan's stuff right there. Anyways, we're going way off base here. We're sticking with the non-serious things to end it because I have a segment that I do at the end of all the interviews called "Life's Most Important Questions," but by no means are they at all life's most important questions. It's just the way I've labeled it to make it sound better, I guess. I don't know. I'll just ask the questions, and for each question, Addie will get your answer to it first, and then we'll get Coach's answer. And yeah, that's how we'll do it. You guys ready?
We're ready.
All right. First question. When it comes to like energy drinks, is this Gatorade, Powerade, or are we going in a totally other direction from those?
I really like Gatorade, so that's usually what I have.
Okay.
If I had to choose out of those, I'd say Powerade, but I do like a vitamin water, strawberry kiwi.
Okay. Nothing wrong with vitamin water. Powerade, that's interesting. We don't get a whole lot of people saying Powerade on here.
Yeah, I'll take a Powerade over a Gatorade any day.
Okay. All right. Best flavor of Starburst.
The pink flavor. I don't know what it is, but
Yeah, pink all day. Pink all day.
Everybody.
In the end, our Gator, we didn't ask this one. Our Gator, it's to my heart. I call it the flavor. But do you call Gatorades by color or Powerades by color, or do you call it by flavor?
Color.
Yeah, definitely color.
Sorry, Cap. You're not going to win that one ever. All right. When it comes to sweets, are you more chocolate person or a vanilla person?
Vanilla.
Yeah, vanilla. I'd have to go vanilla too. Yeah.
It's rare we get two vanillas. Wow. Okay. All right. Is a hot dog a sandwich?
Yes, because it's like 2 pieces of bread and then some. You know?
Well, looks like you're not the captain. Based on that look from Coach, you just lost it.
I'm gonna disagree. I do not think a hot dog is a sandwich.
All right. Favorite cheat meal?
Cheat meal?
Yeah.
What is that?
Like if you're in the off season and you're not trying to stay on top of things anymore, and you're allowed to kind of branch off whatever normal diet you usually keep. What's like your favorite thing to eat when junk food?
You're gonna feel terrible after you eat it, but like in the moment, you're like,
it's
man,
so delicious.
Great.
Pasta, probably, because it's very heavy, so I don't really like to eat it before games.
Mine's probably would be Five Guys. I always regret it after, but I love me some Five Guys.
I can agree with you on the regretting it after the Five Guys. I'll go with you on that one. Except for the fries. I mean the fries. I'm sorry. Anyways, last question. If you were on a deserted island and you had to pick 2 people that you know, not like from history, 2 people you know, to help you get off that deserted island, who are you picking and why?
My grandpa, because he's very resourceful. And then probably one of my best friends to just keep me company, and then just basically make like a crazy impulsive decision to get off the island.
Mine would be my mother, because my mom would probably go through any length to get to find me. And then Coach Cooley. Coach Cooley once drove out to Saratoga just because I forgot my wallet one day. And that's when I knew he was a true friend. So yeah, definitely Coach Cooley.
I feel like we need to expand on that a little bit because you've been very you've been nothing but sunshines and rainbows with this Coach Cooley.
Yeah.
How long you guys known each other? Like this, like a broship for life? Like what is this? What is this been?
Listen, this is the story. I tell this story to anybody who asks me how long we've been friends. Coach Cooley's senior year, my junior year at Columbia, I was definitely going left. I was, football guy who was just doing all the football things. And Coach Cooley reeled me in. And before I knew it, I was not going to lunch and I was in someone's classroom doing work. We would go to football workouts together. And then when basketball season was in, we'd get food before the games and we'd watch together. And, he's been a brother ever since, he did his first couple of years at Oswego. I did mine at Onondaga. We were about an hour away from each other. And everything that I've done, I've always had Coach Cooley with me and in the back of my mind. And, he's definitely a best friend, a brother, honestly, the best that anyone could ever ask for.
I smell a bromance. I love it. Cap, can you say that you have a bromance with Jerry or no?
No, I don't think it's a bromance. I think it's a respect for the other person with how much they've done in your life, and just like you truly would have somebody you'd do anything for. Like you hear it all the time. Like give you your shirt off the back. Like it would literally happen. There's only a handful. I know I posted something the other day, but I think as you get older, like your circle gets smaller. It's not because of like you didn't. It comes down to because you realize who you need to trust and who the people are in your life that really just need to be there. So it's your circle gets smaller as you get older. Some people have tons of friends, but I'd rather have like 2 really, really good friends than have kind of like 300 like mediocre friends. So
yeah.
And then once you're out of school, you're no longer doing popularity contests. You're actually trying to,
right,
succeed in life. You know what I mean?
I'm sure, Addie, you have any handshakes with Coach that yet? Do you have a pregame handshake or anything that you guys do or no?
They booted me off the handshake line last year. I tried to step up game one. And like you guys said, we had 7. So I tried to step up game 1 and do the handshakes, and they booted me after game 1.
Well, we didn't remember them, so
Oh, no.
we usually just dab up. That's it.
So his jokes are crap, and he can't do handshakes. Is that what we're establishing here, Addie?
Yeah, basically.
Wow. Maybe Coach O really is like. Well, hold on. Let me try to do the math in my head. Maybe he really is 30 going on 50. I don't know. I'm just.
I've been trying to tell you guys. I'm a young man with a old mentality, I guess.
You're an old soul. It's okay. You're an old soul.
I'm an old soul.
An old soul.
Addie's lucky the workouts are over, I think, for the day. I don't.
Yeah.
There wouldn't be a few sprints in there.
We start on Monday, and I think she knows what squat she's on, so maybe we can find some extra work for her to do. Yeah.
Uh-oh. I think we might have gotten Addie in a little bit of trouble in this area. Oh, anyways, Michael Oliver, Addie Loszynski from Maple Hill. Now we've gotten Addie in enough trouble for the first practices of the season. I think we can wrap this up. So, Coach Addie, thank you very much for joining the program. Definitely appreciate it. Best of luck this season, and I'll call it now. I look forward to seeing the 2 of you at sectionals over at Hudson Valley this year. All right.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
All right, Coach Oliver, Addie Loszynski. Yeah. So good stuff. I hate the fact that I might have gotten Addie in a little bit of trouble, but whatever. It's all good. No big deal.
She's probably the toughest kid that I've ever known. So she's pretty tough. I don't know, volleyball. I've seen her hit a volleyball on a video before. I wouldn't get in the way of it. That's all I would say. And if you did, you better have good insurance if you did get in front of it. So,
especially if you're Coxsackie Athens when she had like 12 kills to the face on them, but that's whatever.
Yeah,
that's right. I looked up volleyball stats before I did this show. She had like 12 kills against them, 9 against Shaker. I did my homework. All right. Anyways, one quick thing I do want to bring up that is kind of bothering me. I know we don't know a whole lot of details about it, but what is with this coup that's going on in Scotia, just trying to get everyone fired? Like, what am I missing here? Like football coach, we don't want you. AD, we don't want you. What am I missing here?
Yeah, I don't know. I there's a petition that's about the AD, and I don't think it's completely ever one person's fault, right? Like things don't work and things fail, but it's never really one person that it is the reason that it fails. I don't know. Board meetings, I think, are Monday nights there. They become like a must watch for most people. Just knowing a few people that are in that district still and have kids in that district. I don't know. Like the football coaches left. Both the two coaches that they hired for basketball had left, and now they have two new ones. People are trying to question the whole athletic program at this point now. But I don't know. Like it's a weird thing to see. Usually you don't see whole programs, people going after whole programs. It's usually one team or one coach of some sort. For this to be at that level, again, it's not one person's fault ever. So
there's two small things I take away from this. One, obviously, this only all this drama only hurts the kids in the district. Nothing about this helps them, because now there's just great confusion about who's coaching who and like, whose instructions should I be following and all this stuff. It's just a big mess. The second thing is, I kind of feel like the superintendent should be stepping up and saying something at this point, like putting a foot down, or it just seems like all is quiet on the Western Front when it comes to superintendents during a lot of things that happen like this. It's just,
sure.
It's kind of weird, because you would think that if you or even a principal, like, doesn't even have to be the superintendent, it could be just the principal, just has to step up and be like, look, I put my trust in this person. This is the person we're going with. Sorry, but not sorry, kind of thing. Like you gotta stand by your decisions at some point, unless there's something drastically bad has happened, to the point of where it necessitates a changing of the guard. You can't just let the person just get hung out to dry like that, in my opinion.
Right. Yeah. And there's only so much stuff you can obviously answer, like in the public eye, because it's still a professional thing. But you would think there'd be some kind of vote of confidence, because I know that the petition says no vote of confidence right now. So
right,
where's the vote of confidence that you're being an administrator that you want a little bit from your own administration? But I don't know. It's just a strange thing to see. Like, it's a whole program, and the whole football thing is wild to me. Like they got upset that they used the football field without permission, like during August in the summer. Like, who cares?
It's the football field. Who else is using it?
Yeah, like what's the issue? They got some kids together that also attend Scotia High School. Like, not for nothing, but these coaches aren't paid 12 months a year. So technically he's organizing something on his own as a civilian at that point. Like, what are we doing? So
yep, I hear you, man. Well, so that does it for episode 34 of 84 Feet, the Cady and Cap. Don't forget, you can follow us on X at 84 Feet Podcast. Also follow us on Facebook. Just search for 84 Feet with Cady and Cap. On YouTube, give us a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel. Put on the notification bell so you know when new episodes come out, or just new content, period, because we're also putting up some stuff with interviewing some Section 2 talents at the college level right now. As as we're talking right now, there's the season's just begun on the across the board. Actually, all levels are in play now, so very interesting. I know LA Surface put up productive minutes. Kiana Christmas had a really good debut for Morrisville. Just a bunch of stuff going on. I know Coble Skills gotten underway, and Logan Thane had a great opening game at Hartwick. So a lot of stuff going on, a lot of moving pieces, and we'll definitely have more stuff coming up very, very soon. In the meantime, Mr. Capitula, thank you.
Happy Veterans Day.
Yes, absolutely. And we'll catch you on the other side for episode 35, I guess. That's what's up for 34, right? 35?
Yep, KD episode.
I literally took the words out of my mouth. Thank you very much, KD.
I'll start using WNBA players if we want to as well, because there's a bunch of WNBA players that I could give numbers to as well, and we are girls basketball, but
I gotta think 35. 35 is a tough one. I'd have to look that one up for the WNBA.
I don't know.
I'll have to work on that one
Yeah.
because Brianna Stewart, I think, is 30. Yeah, I have to work on 35.
There's
Yeah.
a whole list of best players ever to wear numbers. So I'll have to pull that up. Let's see. 35. We'll go with Angel McCoughtry.
Yeah, that's an oldie but a goodie. Yeah, all right, yeah, okay, all right. Well, that'll do it. We'll see you on the Age of a Country episode. Toodles.